All right, going to do today's live broadcast. Just trying again do this as and talk to people about what some of the struggles that dealerships are going through, or some of the best practices that are helping them stay ahead. And price changes are a big part of it. Obviously, if you're not adjusting your cars are going to tend to sit and age on your lot. And there's a lot of dealerships out there that over the years, we're talking a dozen years as I've tried to help dealerships move their inventory more efficiently. Some of the biggest challenges I've seen were dealerships were changing prices just to change prices, or changing prices to keep their system clean. And what I mean by that, their inventory management tool might have, hey Robin, notifications that say, hey, here's a list of cars you haven't changed in 7 days. And so they go in and make sure these, cars that need attention get adjusted, and they might not be ready to do a price change yet. So a lot of times managers will just change the price. Hey, Paul. And they're, sometimes they're just moving it 100 here, 100 there, $50 here, raise it 200, lower to 150. And again, it seems like they're just doing it to keep the inventory clean, make it look like they're busy, making sure the inventory is not being ignored. But a lot of times that's really not making an impact in the market. And so, what I want to go over is, do price changes with a purpose. And I just was on a call today with a dealer, and we're talking about moving a car, and it was a little bit fresh, but he wasn't selling enough fresh inventory. So I wanted him to move that car now to help keep that fresh sale rate running, but he wanted to wait a little bit to the photos were done. There we go. I think we're back. I was down a little bit there, but he didn't want to necessarily do the price change yet because he wanted to make an impact, because he understands now, and I've been dealing with him for over a year, the impact of when we make adjustments, all of a sudden the phone rings. So I'm going to just scratch a little bit. This is going to be a little bit longer video. I'm going to scratch the service of flat pricing, because this has a ton to do with it. I've been doing flat pricing, what the article came out, 2011, that I first wrote about it in Dealer Magazine. And I think it was June 2011, about not pricing at $14,995. It's a strategy that's been shared out there with the industry, but basically, price a car at 15 grand, price a car at 20 grand. Those buckets are how people shop online. Go to AutoTrader, go to cars.com, go to Car Gurus. If somebody's going to shop by price, they're going to be able to choose by what I call buckets: 10, 15, 20, 22, 24, 20,000. So pricing it at $19,995. You're going to miss that search if somebody says, I want a truck but want to spend 20 to 30 grand or 20 to 25 grand. So flat pricing is part of this, making price adjustments with a purpose. So understand that. I've done workshops. There's plenty of videos I've done, both on Dealer On to conferences about how to do this. If you go to National Independent Dealer Association's YouTube channel, my workshop's on there. Dealer On, look for Marketing Cars with my name on there, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But if you understand flat pricing and know we're going to put a car at 20 grand. How are you doing, Adam? Good to see you, bud. Hey, Lewis. We need to get caught back up. If you understand 20 grand flat pricing, okay, now that once we do that, we understand that at 20 grand, our SRPs are going to take off. I'll tell you, take a car, if you're not flat pricing, take it at $19,995, move it up $5 to 20 grand and see what happens to your SRPs. They will 10 times what you're doing right now, okay? And so put it at 20 grand. Now what you're doing is what I call marinating that price. You're getting as many eyeballs, marinating is soaking, tenderizing the meat, right? So we're tenderizing the car. We're soaking the market eyeballs in at 20 grand. And maybe we're not aggressively priced. Maybe we're at 100% of market or 98%. Absorb it. Then don't just change a price to change a price, move it 100 or 200, because you're not making an impact on the market. Right? You're not going from 98 to 96. You're just probably staying at 98 when you move it $100 or so. It's not going to incentivize somebody to jump off their couch and come in. But let's say at 20 grand, if you're getting the eyeballs and people are maybe saving the car because they notice that they like the car, but they're still shopping around, what I tell you to do is drop the car at least $500, or you need to drop it $500. A couple reasons there. One, cars.com, I believe it's $500 price reduction. It'll say reduced online. Two, Auto Trader takes a 2.5% reduction to say reduced online. Okay, so if I just move it 100, 200 bucks, I'm not making an impact in the market, and I'm not really getting a customer to get off their butt, off their couch, to come in and buy that car. So my thoughts is, if we're pricing at 20 grand, soak up all the market, leave it there for a week or two. Okay, maybe 2 weeks if it's a fresh unit and you're priced competitively and it's a car you need that exposure. Then you move it 500 bucks at 19.5. It'll say reduced on both sides. Maybe the people that are saving the car will get notification that you price reduced. And when you do a $500 price adjustments, all of a sudden people go, oh, that was a good deal at 20 grand. Now it's 19.5. I better hurry up in there because it's a really good deal now. And I can tell you, I can attest, Matthew Lasco's on this call if he's paying attention. People, once you make those adjustments and you're teeing up a car, I'll call it, you're teeing up a car, setting it up. And then a lot of times we know 20 grand is just not the number and we're going to have to get aggressive. We'll just sit it there to get the absorption of the market, make the price adjustment, boom, the calls come or people show up all of a sudden. And we'll see that a lot of times on age cars, especially if I take a dealer has an age car at 99.95, I'll move that thing up to 10 grand and all of a sudden he sells it. It's sitting there for 120 days. Like, why all of a sudden does this thing sell? Hold on a second. And so my heater kicked on. I had a bunch of noise. So at 10 grand, all of a sudden the SRPs blow up on this car and people see it. And a lot of times raising a price like that, going from 9.95 to 10 grand, that car becomes more appealing. 19,995 versus 20 grand. If it's priced aggressively, a lot of times that car is more appealing to the 20 and higher buyer than the 20 and lower. Okay, so if you're making price adjustments, I'm going to go back to this. If we flat price it or go from 19,995 to 20 grand and you're priced aggressively, you're raising that price, the car sometimes is more appealing to the 20 higher than 20 lower. So listen to me. So if a guy says, hey, or a gal, she goes online and says, hey, I want to shop for a car, but my max budget's $20,000. Your 20 grand car, your 19,995 car ends up at the top of the budget. It's not appealing as cars if they could find it cheaper. But that shopper that goes 20 to 25 grand, all of a sudden, they might flip their search low to high like a lot of people do, and that car becomes the cheapest price car in the market. So think about that. You're at 20 grand, and these 20 grand and higher shoppers are liking your cars, and it's more appealing. Well, then make the adjustment after a week or two of soaking in those eyeballs, drop it to 19.5. It'll say reduced on these sites, and then the phone call rings. Moving it 100 or 200 bucks isn't going to make adjustment in the market. It's not going to affect a reduction. It's not going to make somebody excited about all of a sudden wanting to get off their couch and come and see you. And the other thing I talk to dealerships about, and this is the key, this is what I wanted to talk about initially, but I had to set it up for this, is you want to prime these cars. And again, most of the accounts that deal with me understand what I'm talking about by priming a car. But what I mean by that is, let's say 20 grand is our ideal price for a car. It's day one, and I know 20 grand is 98%, and so it's a competitively priced car, and 20 grand is going to absorb and soak up a lot of market and give me a ton of SRPs. But you're wasting your time a lot of times putting that car at 20 grand out the gate, because what's happening is you don't have any photos yet, right? And your descriptions are barely there. So you have no photos. And you're putting out 20 grand and all these eyeballs are on your cars, but you're not getting the clicks because there's no pictures. You're wasting all these SRPs on a car that's not ready yet. So we want to prime the car. And to do that, you got to understand how, again, these sites work. Auto Trader, 2.5% reduction. Cars.com, at least 500. So I would price that car at $20,006. I don't like $20,006 because it's kind of an odd number. I like $500 increments or $250, but I'm doing $20,006 to prime it. If you do the math, if I reduce 2.5% over 20 grand, at 20 grand, 500's enough. Over 20 grand, I got to be 20,006. I can't be 20,005 because a $500 reduction won't say reduce. So 20,006. I'm priming that car. And what I'm doing then is waiting for the trifecta. Okay, so at 20,006, I'm going to get that car out there. It's probably 99 or 100% of the market. I'm fine with that. Take your 3 to 5 days, but realistically probably 7 to 10 days before the car gets serviced, photoed online. Now your photos are done. That's one trifecta. 2, you do the price reduction, $600. Now it says reduced. And then 3, you got your photos online. Okay, so now you're getting those SRP, you're hitting that bucket, SRPs take off, right? You got your photos there, so you're not wasting those SRPs. You'll start driving VDPs on it. And it says reduce across the board. So what I wanted to get to is pricing your cars with a purpose, understand how these websites work, so then you can do a price, get, like I said, initially out the gate, do that trifecta. If you got a 30 grand car, I probably price it at 31,000, 101%, 102, whatever that number is, 31,000. If I know 30 is my number, 31,000 it, only to prime that car, get it on lot, get it photo, get it described, drop it a grand to 30 grand, SRPs take off, photos are there, says reduced. Okay, get it? So depending on the price point of that car, prime it, set it up. The other thing I want to talk about on price changes is work. I talk about dealers like chess players. I'm not a big chess player, but from my understanding is, chess players look at move 5 before they do move 1. So they can back their way into what they're setting that other player up to be. I want the queen, and I know if I do this move, that move, that move, I can push the queen up. Okay, so as you're managing the inventory, think of your exit strategy. So day 45, 18 grand will blow this thing up because it's a big popular search bucket. And it's probably 90% of the market. Okay. So by day 45, you want to be at 18 grand. Okay. So listen to me again. Day 1, I may want to be at 20 grand because I know I'm going to do $500 clips and eventually get to 18. 20 grand might be 100% of market, might sell a car, might not, but at least it gives me exposure. So I want to be at 20 grand out the gate. But remember, I want to prime the car. So I'm going to 20,006 it out the gate. 20,006 allows time for the car to get photo, price, description, get it online. Drop it 600. Everything says reduced online, autotradercars.com. I hit the price reduction. I hit the 20 grand bucket, and my photos are there to drive VDPs on the car or people to save it. If that don't work, I'm 19.5 in it after 2 weeks of exposure. 19.5, I might only do that for a week because then I'm going to go to 19. And I might do that for a week or two, depending on how much activity. Then I'm going to 18.5 by day 30, day 35. By day 40, by day 45 or 50, I'm going to that 18 grand. And then hopefully that number is spiking that car. Each time I adjusted those prices, I'm hitting a bucket and I'm watching the performance on it. Or not hitting a bucket, but I'm hitting reduced. 20 grand's a big bucket, 18 grand's a big bucket on a lot of these sites for search optimization for SRPs on these cars. So if you just 20 grand it and then 19.9, 8, then 19.8, 19.7, and just play around, eventually you're getting to those buckets, right? You're going from 20 grand to 19.5 maybe in 2 or 3 weeks. But instead of dropping at 100 or 2 to get to 19.5 in 2 or 3 weeks, wait, absorb the market, drop at 500. Drop at 500, drop at 500, or whatever it might take to get to 2.5% reduction. Okay, so it's a little bit longer. Like any feedback, I see a lot of people online. Again, Matthew, Stephen, Micah, Troy, Casey. Hey, Casey. I still hear that Carfax, don't I? So understand, do price changes with a purpose. Don't adjust cars just to keep your system clean. Do them with a purpose. Make a big impact both in your marketing. Again, you're spending all this money on these sites, autotradercars.com. Maximize them. I could show you accounts that all we've done, and some people are on here, all we've done is strategies like this, and we've doubled the amount of leads that they're getting from these sites and didn't pay $1 more for those sites, okay? Because they understand how to make these adjustments and doing them with a purpose. So I hope this was helpful. Anybody want to talk now? Throw something out there in the comments. If not, I'm going to wrap this up. And give me a call or email if you need anything else. Check out our YouTube page with a bunch of tips, Lotpop Inc. Check out lotpartyshow.com, has podcasts and so forth. Adam, so don't price, just trick vAuto price change making adjustments. Exactly. So, vAuto has the needs attention box and no price changes in 7 days. And sometimes a dealer will be like, hey, how come we got so many cars we haven't adjusted? So somebody would go in there just to adjust prices. Or maybe they just move it 100 just to keep the system clean, or they're not ready to move it yet because they're losing money on a car. And again, they just make it a little bit of a movement on it. Makes no impact in the market. Not going to get anybody excited about coming in to buy that car. Now it's going to say reduced. And so you're really missing out these big opportunities to maximize those exposures. So again, I hope this was helpful. Again, it's usually longer than I wanted. I wanted kind of 3 to 5 minute videos, but I love the feedback. Thanks, Kyle, for that. Give me a call. 314-568-2754. Again, lotpop.com. Go to YouTube, subscribe to our channel, get all these tips. I just put out 2 today, or 1 today, 1 yesterday, and about trades and what percentage of inventory should be trades. And make sure you're watching and monitoring how many cars are online. It's one thing missing photo percentage, but if you don't have cars online, you're missing these SRPs anyways, and price changes won't impact it as much. Hey, Chad, how you doing, bud? Hope things are well. So hopefully I get to do this again tomorrow. See you guys then. Thanks.